Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner, brought to you by Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training and Development, where our passion is building leaders of today and tomorrow. Leaders, the information on today's program was gathered from many different places and many different people. Now, if you hear yourself in our conversation today, please remember it is not all about you. Today, I'm going to talk about something that I believe as leaders we need to really put some time and thought process into. You see, I'm really asking the question, are you an observer or a participant? Are you a doer or a watcher? You see, in today's world, we often call it a game. In the game, or are you watching the game? I believe life is really a game. Now, when I think about it, though, and I start working with organizations, both profit and nonprofit, and some churches, I often ask that question: Are you in it? Are you really doing? Are you just watching it go by? You see, to me, these are routine questions that I use to kind of get the minds of the people I'm working with going. I normally see that when I do this, that they sit pretty quietly and they start really putting some thought process. But I have to tell you that the way these questions came about to me was I was really sitting quietly listening to and watching a performance of a very talented musician and songwriter. And I really wanted to be a part of it. The way they came across, they really wanted you to be a part of it. Actually, sing along. And I found myself really kind of by myself doing so. So as I sat and watched and started looking around, I started really coming up with these questions. Are you an observer or a participant? Are you a doer or a watcher? Are you in the game or do you watch the game? And it really started to bring together how corporations and organizations operate. You see, we had been invited to this performance and the music was very well done. And I noticed that some people were in rapt attention and others were far off in another space and time. They didn't want to be there. And you had to ask yourself, well, why were they there? But to sit in the bleachers, to sit on the couch, to watch the TV, be on the other side of doing, quite frankly, has always sent me to that far off place. I admit freely that I am not good at sitting still and watching anything. I need and I crave action and using my mind as well as my body. That's why when I watch a performer, I'm involved in that type of situation. I need more than just sitting and being there. It has to be some kind of interaction for me. But what I've seen is that organizations, corporations, and families who don't have that interaction, well, they start to falter. They start to falter because everyone's waiting for someone else to do something. They're waiting for someone else to do something quicker, faster, better, and maybe even get them involved. But sitting there on the bleachers, on the sidelines, it just has never been anything that I've wanted to do. When I've worked with organizations, those who don't sit on the sidelines, they get involved, they take action, they put action to their worlds and their words. We watch them actually grow. You see, for me, a journey to the forest or the seashore, especially the mountains, and yes, I do like the swamps and the rivers, and I even like going to the desert. You see, in each one of them, there's something about them that search, that just hit me searches for that next great adventure that we call life. In that next great adventure, you have to ask yourself, am I building something? Am I adding to? Or am I just there? Well, a good friend of mine who is a pastor one Sunday gave me these three sets of words. And it was just about the time that I was putting together this other opportunity of, are you, involved? Are you an observer, a participant, a doer, a watcher in the game, or just there to watch the game? He said to me one day, he said, get up, look up, link up. And he passed that to me one Sunday morning as a friend, as a pastor. But I have to tell you, when I heard those simple words, my mind painted many pictures. I was suddenly back deep in the swamp of my childhood, there watching the sun come up in the sharp contrast to the darkness, down through the canopy of the thick overhead growth. The silence, looking up through the canopy of grapevines that I had been walking under just the day before. You see, I look at our past to remember and to gain knowledge. And what I saw was men and women who had ventured into the darkness to hunt, to fell trees, to build a life with their families. You see, there was no TV to watch. There was no time to be wasted. They did find joy in all they did. The simple pleasure of chopping wood was not a terrible thing. You could make fun out of it, even though you knew it was going to heat your cabin or cook your meal. The hard work and the time to sit quietly, really comes together. They knew how to sit quietly on the shores of the lakes and streams and catch the night's dinner and find joy in that. They found joy to watch their children run and be free. You see, time spent around the campfire, telling stories and passing the knowledge of life and the skills were needed to survive and thrive and enjoy life as they knew it at that time. Today, you see, they were in it. They weren't just observers, they were participants. They were doers, not just watchers. And they were in the game. They weren't there just to watch the game. What a difference our world would be if we kind of took a few little hints from that. You see, for me, I still to this day enjoy all those things. I love to be a part of something, to act, to do, to build. To build using not only my body, but my mind. To provide for my family. So when I hear or when I say these things, get up, look up, and link up, it means get up off your duff. Get involved. Do it. Take action. Look up to maybe the person who has provided all those things for you and opportunities right in front of you. And link up with others. You see, in this world, we do nothing by ourselves. And that part is probably the hardest thing for all of us to learn. A long time ago, I wrote down a little thing that I'm not so sure at the time I wrote it, I really understood it. It says a dream is only a dream unless action is added to gain the attraction. And about that same time, I wrote down, if you're not planning your life, someone else is, and will. If you're just watching, someone else is planning your life. If you're just observing, someone else is planning your life. If you're just observing, you're just watching, someone is always making other decisions and choices for you. I just don't think that's the way to live. And I don't think that's the way to run a company, an organization, a church, a family. But I do think that you need to be prepared. You need to do the research. You need to stay on top of what's going on in your life and others around you. You need to stay stimulated to a point that you're bringing those new things together all the time. Now, I'm not saying you have to move to the woods and do like the people I talked to you about. You know, I am saying that right where you're at, what is it that you should be doing? Do you have a vision, a future picture? Do you know your mission, your purpose? Do you have a strategy, a plan for doing your daily pieces? When I was a kid and I'd look up through those grapevines up to the sky, I often wondered what else was up there. Now we're going to the moon, and next step is go to Mars. And so when I read these things again, when I was working with some people, get up, look up, and link up, it brought to mind those early days when I just knew that there was something else up there. There was something else that needed to be done. There was something else that I needed to do, that I needed to be involved with. So here's the question for you. What do you need to do to be involved? What actions do you need to place in your life? And you know what? As a leader, what actions do you need to show someone else that they need to do? You see, are you planning your life, or is someone else doing it for you? Big decisions need to have big answers, and you need to take and make them. What I'm looking for on my desk right now is our next piece, because I believe that we need to wrap this into another section that goes together with it. And I'm going to really take you there, because here it is right in front of me. One of the biggest things that I'm seeing in today's society is some words that you need to, as a leader, help people remove from their vocabulary. So let me give you some words that are going to help you. First of all, I was told this by someone here just recently, that these words will help you live a longer, happier life. The first one is I can. It's funny how the difference between I can and I can't. You see, when I say I can't do something, you've already made up your mind. You've made the choice. You've made the decision that it won't work. You can't do it. It just never happened. And in your mind, that's what comes out of your hands. It doesn't. Mr. Ford often said that you can and you can't, both are true. Yeah, think about that one a little bit. But think of, just put in your mind that these words, okay? I can, I will, I know, I believe, I dream, I am confident, and all things are possible. Think how that would change the world today, that if we as leaders started to implement those simple little words. When someone came into your office and says, we can't do that. And I would tell them, sorry, we don't use that word here. Tell me what you can do. But we can't do that. Well, tell me what you can do. You see, that helps make a different solution happening. When we can do this, give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? It work? The words I can are a very positive piece in your brain, and they're implemented throughout your body when it sees and hears that action. I can. The next one is I will. you know, it just drives me nuts. As when I'm with around some people, is I hear I can't and I won't is their two biggest things. And by golly, you know what? Those are excuses. And excuses, quite frankly, never make solutions. And excuses are just excuses. So I can and I will. I can do that. I will do that. I will help you do that. I will be there. I can make that happen. Changes the whole thing. I want you to watch somebody's face when they say the can't word or the won't word, and how their mouth moves downward and there is no smile there at all. But when they say I can, they're actually their face changes, and I will and I can. Their eyes actually get bigger and there's a smile on their face. See, that's a positive piece. The words I know really mean a lot. I know that. I know how to do that. I know where we can find that. I know who to go to. Again, watch the facial movements when the I know comes out. If they put a don't in front of it, watch how their face changes again. It's that positive and negative input that we're putting into our life at that very time when it's the most important. So as leaders, I'm encouraging you to help people remove some words from their vocabulary and replace them with I will, I can, I know. Now, the words I believe, I think really start to hit home. You see, I believe I can. I believe I know. I believe I'll go find out. I believe that I know someone I can ask. You see, when you believe in yourself enough to say, hey, well, you know, I'm going to go and ask someone else. I know enough that I need to go and do that. How it changes the whole vocabulary, and it changes where you're standing. The I believe. I'm going to encourage those. The first thing you do is I believe in myself. To believe in yourself, you must stay prepared. Excuse me. You must stay on top of it. But I believe is the big one. Now, the words I dream, I think it's unfortunate in today's world that we take the I dream out of our young people by the time they're in second or third grade. They're told to sit down and be quiet and learn. Well, they learn by rote. You can teach monkeys by rote. We should be teaching our young people to be creative, to be able to dream, to be able to search out that answer to the question that they have. And when we do that, I'm going to tell you what, it's going to change how we come about as being adults. In our organizations and corporations today, so many times the dream has been removed by the time a person gets in a certain level. They've been squashed, those dreams have been squashed, or they've been run away or been told to put them away until they grow up. Creativity and dreaming are how corporations and organizations, churches, families grow. When you don't have that dream, you're just there. You're just going to float on the water like that bobber. You're going to go wherever the wind blows you. You have no plan. But you know what? There was a very famous man who said, I have a dream. And I wish for everyone to have a dream, to have that creative thought process going on in their mind, to be able to push it forward and research it to its end. You see, if you have a dream and you've researched it and you've gotten prepared, I believe in my heart that you will make it so. It's that taking that time to do the research and being prepared that sometimes slows us down. But I dream. Hey, I dream all the time. For me, it's how I get up every morning, what I'm going to do. And so I encourage those around me to do the same. As leaders, you need to do it too. Show others you're doing it. I put my wacky dreams up on the board and let them look at them. All right. I realize I probably will never be a spaceman and walk out in space. At my age, that's kind of a far out dream. But hey, you never know. You just got to keep going. I am confident. The words I am confident, quite frankly, is one of the most positive things you can take and say to yourself and to others. I am confident I know what I'm talking about. Now, the only way to be confident, quite frankly, is to do that research, to stay on top of the game. If you tell me your career is going to be aeronautics, then I should be seeing you reading about aeronautics all the time, going to different seminars, staying on top, maybe even going down to the garage mechanics area and learning how things go to put together. I would think that'd be very important. What I find over and over, though, is when someone tells me that they're not confident, they put that not in there. It really means they haven't done the homework. They haven't put in the time. And quite frankly, that's the hard part. And quite frankly, it's not fun all the time. But to be confident, I think how important that is. Now, you're confident in many different things. I will just lay you money. I bet you're confident to drive a car. You're confident to use your telephone. You're confident that you can make dinner. Whatever it is, you're confident about it. But here's the difference between people who are and are not. I know someone who's confident as soon as they walk through the doors of my office on how they present themselves and the words they use. Many times, it's even before the words they use, I know where they're going. That confidence really exudes before them. Now, this last one, all things are possible. Well, I learned that in Sunday school a long time ago. And it kind of got pushed away in my life for many, many years that things weren't all possible. You see, I found myself surrounded by people who lived in the negative. And they always found a way to not make it possible. But that day that I made the choice to leave that situation and surround myself with positive people who used these words, I can, I will, I did, changed my whole world. You see, I found things were all possible, but you have to be able to really understand what that means. Again, it's not likely I'm going to be a person who walks on the moon. Is it possible? Sure. Would have been more possible, though, if I would have started at an earlier age and done all those things to be prepared to do that. You see, this is where that research and prepared piece comes in. Research, prepare, execute. Yes, all things are possible. So here's the question that I ask, quite frankly, to a lot of people. What are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? All things are possible. What are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? Well, Dick, I want to own my own company. Okay. What are you willing to do? Are you willing to take and struggle where you're at right now and put some money away and build a treasure chest so that you have money to sustain yourself for the first year or maybe 2 years of the business opening up? Can I do it right now? What are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? Well, I really want to open a company that fixes bicycles. Well, do you know how to do that? Well, no. What are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? Are you willing to go take a course, or are you willing to go and be an apprentice and learn how to fix the bicycles before you open your own company? You mean I have to wait? What are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? All things are possible. But it takes time, and it takes work, and it takes effort, and it takes persistence. You say all things are possible. Persistence is your probably number one key. When someone told me one day, Dick, you will never be an author. You don't have this, you don't have that, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. They made a list of all the things I had never done. So I set forth and started putting my nose to it and learning those things. And after a while, I realized, what was I willing to do to get to where I wanted to go? I wanted to write my own book, so I needed to learn how to do all those things. Persistence. Didn't happen overnight. It was many long years. Finally, that first book came out, and we published it here local. I had a friend who was a printer. He did it for me right there on his own printing machine, and we made them up ourselves, put the bindings on ourselves, and boy, we were pretty proud. But you see, we didn't listen real good because we didn't have a number from the Library of Congress. Without that, you really can't do much. And so it was back to the learning stage. What are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? On the next go round, we actually had a publisher, and that changed everything. Went to be a bestseller. But what was I willing to do to get to where I wanted to go? All things are possible if you're willing to put the work. And this is the big stumbling block for many. It was a stumbling block for me for a long time. I didn't want to do the work. I wanted things right now. I wanted that instant gratification. I wanted to make it happen. And how come we can't do it right now? And when I learned, what are you willing to do to get to where you wanted to go? That persistence, that hard work, that long time to put in place. Here's what I found. Not only was I learning and growing, but I found the people around me were watching, saying, he's willing to do what needs done to get him to go where he needs to go. I'll bet we need to do that ourselves. And they changed also. So put these words into your life. I can. I will. I know. I believe. I dream. I am confident. And all things are possible. Time is on your side to reevaluate and replace those other words with these positive ones. Will take you places in your life that you'll be really surprised are there. Now, I see my time is running short like always, and I want to say thank you for letting me talk about this today, that in today's world, I really truly believe that when we look at all these different parts and pieces, that we look at how we're making these things happen, that it really can make a difference. And you can and will make a difference. Now, on behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team, we want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. We hope that you've received a nugget of wisdom and guidance that will help you become a better leader. Now, if you have any questions or comments on today's program, don't hesitate. Give us a call, 727-422-1833, 727-422-1833. Send me an email, dick@ewfw.org. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to Really sit down and think about what you need to do and how you need to do it, and send me an email, dick@ewfw.org. And until next time, Wrangler saying, ride hard, ride fast.